Welcome to the first inaugural Next Gen Poker House livestream.
I go all in with the absolute worst hand I ever had before.
Let's do it.
Woodley straddles to $10 here. The stream picks it up wrong as a raise. We pick up 5-4 of hearts in the hijack and raise it up to 30, not a 3-bet. We get one caller in Jelly, aka Jack, with another nickname. He's in the big blind. We're off to a flop of ace 3-7 rainbow with one heart. We flop a double gutter and a backdoor flush draw. Jack checks. He knows that we are tight. This ace smacks our range. We c-bet semi-bluff for $25, but he does make the call. So about 121 in the pot, and the turn is the Jack of diamonds. Doesn't help us. Jack checks, and we don't pick up the heart draw, but Jack will have to give us a lot of credit if we keep putting money into this pot. So we go for the double barrel bluff to the tune of $75 now, and Jack lets the pocket fives go. We take it down.
Alrighty, first hand for me on the stream, we got pocket eights in the cutoff, open a 55 over limp, and Woodley on the button makes a call. Expect a lot of action from him tonight. Flops king 3-3 rainbow, pretty solid for me. I bet small like I would with every hand, and he makes a call. Turns an offsuit 7, and now I gotta decide whether to continue going for value here or check and allow Woodley to potentially bluff. I decided to keep control of the pot, bet small for $60 again. There's plenty of hands we can continue to get value from Woodley, weaker pairs as well as some ace high, and any random floats he might have that contain a 7. He does make the call, and river is an offsuit jack. At this point we got third pair. I decided just to check this one down, and he decides to check this one back, and we end up losing to king 9 of diamonds. Glad we kept control on the turn, because if we check, the gig might have been up and he might have known that we were behind.
To add suspense, we're going to blur the main villain's handout for this one. There is an under the gun limp from Woodley, another limp, a cutoff Jonathan raised to $25, and I look down on the button with pocket jacks with $1,000 in my stack. We're going to 3-bet and make it $85 to go. The two early position limpers fold, and it's back to the cutoff, who, with his hand blurred, puts in a 4-bet to $250. What would you guys do here? He wants to play for stacks. I'm assuming with this raise, $250 is a quarter of our stack. I kind of feel like I'm in a position where I either want to jam or fold, and I'm actually leaning towards a fold. Jonathan is a self-proclaimed nit. Played with him a few times. Haven't seen him get out of line ever. And I'm putting him on queens, ace king plus, and in my mind, we're not playing the bounty game. I think that this is honestly just a good tight fold, and I let it go, and he shows us the bounty hand 7 deuce, which I did not know was even a thing at the time.
We pick up pocket jellos in +2 and raise it up to $50 over a $10 straddle. Pat goes for just a call with ace king offsuit in the hijack, and Woodley in the straddle comes along as well. The flop is an interesting one. Queen 7 deuce all hearts. Woodley checks. Are you guys c-betting here? Multi-way, facing an overcard and a monotone board, I decide to check. Pat bets $75 around half pot with his ace of hearts. Woodley folds, and with the jack of hearts and against Pat, who is a looser player, I think we can make the call here. We're heads up to a turn, which is the ace of diamonds. Not a great card, as a lot of his bluffs, which have the ace of hearts in his hand, just passed us. I check. He fires for $155, and we make the laydown.
We're hosting a meetup game October 29th at Hustler Casino.
It's going to be from 1 to 7 p.m. The blinds are going to be 2-3, friendly game. Come hop in.
Ever heard of Poker Atlas before? Make sure to sign up on Poker Atlas to join us for the meetup game. See you there.
Link in the description to sign up.
Woo! This time we've got king jack offsuit in the +1. I open to 15, and Woodley 3-bets me to $50. It's been a common occurrence. He's been 3-betting pretty wide and often tonight. Pat cold calls and Cam cold calls as well, and it's back on to me. Now there's a lot going on in this hand. First, I opened in early position, which means my range should be pretty tight. Woodley's been 3-betting a ton, so he can have a bunch of garbage. And now there's two cold callers, which means there's plenty of dead money out there as well. We've got good removal to pretty strong hands like ace king, kings, and pocket jacks. So I'm going for it here. I 4-bet bluffed at $275. I'm thinking all I need to do is get through Woodley, and once we can achieve that, hopefully a domino effect will fall into place. Woodley does fold, so plans going accordingly. Pat gets out of the way, and it's back onto Cam, who actually has a really strong hand with ace queen. He tanks for a while, and then eventually flips his cards over, shows me what he's got, and lets him go. We get this one through and scoop in $150 uncontested.
Halloween night.
10, 20, 40.
Max Payne Monday.
My next hands will show you how crazy I was in the stand-up game today. There is an under the gun raise to 15. The button calls 15. I'm in the big blind with 9-6 offsuit, and I call 15 as well. Normally, probably just folding a 9-6. Flop comes 9, 10, 5, rainbow. We flop middle pair, and we want to take down this pot right away, so I lead out for pot, $45. And we get JT to fold his pocket pair, but we do see that Pat outflopped us and makes the call on the button. The turn is the 8 of spades. We picked up a straight draw, but now I'm not feeling too comfortable with my pair with the caller. I check, and Pat in the hat picks up his 2 pair and bets $100. I want to sit down, and Pat can be a maniac at times, so I call bluff catching, and the river is no help, the king of clubs. I check, and he checks it back. We are not sitting down quite yet.
It's stand-up game time. It's a fun game, great for action, great for the stream. The straddle for $10 is on. Frankie raises to $50, and Woodley calls. We wake up with pocket 10s in the big blind and see just a great squeeze spot. Woodley's calling wide. People are opening wider in general during the stand-up game. Let's get some chips in now when we are most confident we have the best hand. I make it $225, and it goes fold, fold, fold. We pick up over $100 and get to sit down.
We raise queen 10 in the cutoff over a straddle and a limp, and only the limper Cam calls. Flop is ace-7-2 all hearts. He checks. This board isn't great for my range. I check it back to protect my equity. Turn is a 3, and Cam bets small to 35. This feels to me a lot like a bet just trying to steal the pot or see where he's at, and if that's the case, those holdings would hate to face some pressure. I throw in a small raise with plans to get a big bet through on a variety of river cards, but as we can see, Cam just had ace high and we take this one down.
I'm definitely not proud of this one. The graphics slow down for a sec, so I'll catch us back to speed. Under the gun raised to 15. Pat called 15. I called 15. The big blind called 15. What do we all have? Well, I have queen 3 offsuit on the button. I really started to overvaluate hands trying to sit down when really I should just let that $8 bounty happen to me if it was meant to be. You shouldn't just call with really trash hands like I was doing. It's going to get me in a lot of trouble. Flop comes 2, 10, 4. I have like no equity. And when Pat bets 25, I call with the intentions of floating and then actually bluffing later. The big blind and Woodley calls, so everyone on the flop remains, and the turn is the 7 of diamonds. It checks to me. I sense weakness and bet $60. Big blind calls. We get Woodley's queen high to fold, and Pat makes the call as well with his straight draw. The river is the 9 of diamonds, and JK leads for $110. Plan failed. I fold, and on to the next hand as we keep punting.
The stand-up game has come down to the final 2 contestants, Jack and Jonathan. The loser will have to give $80 split amongst the winners, and we see 3 early position limps here, Jack being one of them. We wake up with ace-king offsuit in the hijack, and I open it up big, $35, Texas style, and Jonathan, standing up with his life on the line, pumps it to $200. Folds back to me, Jack lets his hand go, and the table's gotten tense. If I fold, Jonathan gets to sit down, and Jack loses the entire game. The table doesn't know, however, that we've got a monster, so let's listen in for the rest of this hand.
Let's see what he does. He's all in, baby. Let's hear the table talk.
Jello saying he's been saved. Nice hand. Nice hand.
We take down over $200 in profit and keep the stand-up game alive.
Currently 4 a.m., still editing, so drop a like if you're enjoying it. Thanks. Peace.
Okay, so as of now, you've seen I've completely changed my game for the stand-up game just because I'm trying to sit down really bad. And the next hand, things do not change. Pat raises only on 2 to 15. Should be a pretty wide range from Pat, and I look down at pocket 8s. It's good enough for a raise, and I was thinking about 3-betting, and then I was thinking about, you know, everyone cold calling me and how I just want to get this hand over with. We jam all in. We rip it all in. Take a play out of Woodley's book, and thankfully no one behind me wakes up with a big hand. This could have been very dangerous. Pat makes the fold as well, so we get to sit down, and finally we're going to start playing better. The next hand we get in a tricky spot with pocket jacks on the button. There's a under the gun limp to 3 with Jello standing up. Willie raises to 20, and this is a normal spot I would always 3-bet, but I actually wanted Jello to remain in the hand because he's standing up. He's the last 2 remaining. I thought that he'd be playing extra wide, and maybe he'd even limp squeeze, and then I can go 4-bet over the top. So I just call here, which is, you know, an exploitative, tricky play, and which kind of gets me in trouble later. And everyone else folds, and Jack just makes the call. The flop comes 5, 9, 8, so pretty good board for our overpair, and Willie bets out for $20. Again, I think that I could go for a raise here, but decided to slow play for $20 calling. I don't like this. I think it's just raised now. I was trying to get Jello to come in, and that's why I slow played. Jello makes the call as well, and we'll have to return, which is the ace of clubs. A scare card for our jacks, and Willie bets $45, which is a pretty small bet, which makes me think that he doesn't have an ace. Again, I consider raising, but just call, and Jello makes the call as well. This time, the river does bite us. It's the 7 of clubs. We didn't raise the entire way, and now we let Willie get there. Jello checks, and Willie puts out a bet of $100. Nothing has been going my way at this point. I have a very strong hand pre-flop. I just want to win a freaking hand, and I'm upset. So I actually make a good disciplined fold. I definitely could have let myself call there, but we make a good fold, and Jello makes a good disciplined fold as well.
There's 2 people left in the stand-up game, me and Jonathan. It's been about 45 minutes with just us 2 standing, and we're both desperate to win a pot. We've got pocket 2s and open, get 2 callers. Flop comes a paired board, definitely one I could c-bet, but Pat and Woodley are the 2 most sticky players and also can take advantage and mix in some bluff raises here. I check with plans to call a bet, but it checks around and turns a 4. I decide to bet small, trying to just win the pot right now, but Pat says hell no, not that easy, buddy. River's a king. I don't expect Pat to ever fold a pair here. Not only does he love hero calling, but the stand-up game adds to that even more. So I check, praying to God he's got ace high or some random garbage, but we end up losing to a pair of 4s.
Oh, the 4.
And the 4 wins it.
Alright, next hand Jonathan opens to 35, gets a call. I call with queen 8 of diamonds, hand is garbage, but can't let Jonathan free roll this one. There's 2 more calls, and then it comes to Pat in the straddle. He has some devious thoughts run through his head, and I feel like I can read his mind. And it goes a little something like this. Stand-up guy opened and got 100 callers. This is basically free money. I don't even care what my cards are. Here comes a 350 bomb. It folds back to me. They say queen 7 is the average hand. If Pat is doing this with every hand he has, I should have the better hand more often, right? And there's a significant amount of money in the pot now, plus the additional $80 I would save if I can win this pot. Seems like a good way to risk the stack. I'm in there. We got Kenny to fold his ace jack, and then a wave of relief comes over me when Pat doesn't snap call. I know I caught him, but the thing is, I don't think he can ever fold. He eventually puts in the chips, crosses his arms like a gangster, looks at me dead in the eyes, and says,
One time!
With the 8 dudes. And Jello has the 8. He's dominating him.
You have queen 8? How do you have queen 8? Wait, oh my god. What the?
I folded ace jack.
Boat.
I must say, that was a nice flop.
We're going to keep Jonathan's hand hidden. He raises under the gun 1 to 15. I have ace queen offsuit under the gun 2. I 3-bet to $50. Willie in the small blind cold calls, and Jonathan calls as well. The flop comes 3, 2, 2, and I decide to bet $50. This could be for value. I could have the best hand, but I'm really just range betting. I've got a good range advantage on this board. I have all the overpairs. Willie folds, and Jonathan makes the call. The turn is the 4 of clubs. 250 in the pot. Jonathan checks to me, and I decide to continue here. The reason I'm doing so is because I have the best overpairs, and I'm gonna put Jonathan's stack to test with a big bet on the turn and all in on the river. I want to see if he can hold on with those small pocket pairs. I really don't think he can. And then we get some bad news. Jonathan, he goes all in for $570 more. We really quickly fold, and Jonathan shows us pocket 3s for a flopped boat. We were never getting that hand to fold. It was a short sample size, but tonight really just didn't go our way.
Now there's a $15 straddle on, Pat limps, Cam raises to 55 on the button. I'm in the big blind with pocket 9s. I think most of the time in a normal game this would be a great hand to squeeze, but with only Woodley and Pat left behind me, I decided to flat and invite them in with a variety of weak holdings. Not sure if that's best or not. As expected, Woodley calls with trash, and then Pat decides to make a play, limp jamming for 250. Cam folds, and it's on to me. I'm almost positive I'll have the best hand here 100% of the time. Let's just get Woodley out of there and go to a run out. I make it 500, Woodley's out of there, and we head to a run out live.
Funny. I think that was probably like a snap continued the entire way. Oh yeah, and it's no good. He gets out flopped and is almost drawing dead.
2 outs.
Turns a brick.
Pat makes the trips.
Oh, and what's the river?
Oh, looks like
Is it a 9? Oh, wow. It's a 9 on the end.
Run good.
We binkarooski on the river to scoop in a nice one our way. Pat fist bumps us after this one. We got him tonight, but can't wait to battle again against such a tricky player on stream.
In for 1,000, out for 100.
In for 1,100, out for 1,500.
In for 1,000, out for 1095.
Good night.
Big winner over here.